Welcome back to another War Rapport Wednesday. We thought this would be a happier version of it. I'm really sorry. It didn't turn out that way. Of course, here with our good friend Mike Gittens. Mike, once again, Auburn, for lack of a better term, finds a way to stumble against another SEC opponent, 0-4. This is not where they want it to be, right?
No, and you don't have to put it lightly. Hugh Freeze said it. He said they keep finding ways to lose at the ends of ball games. That's been the story of this team. I think that it's pretty clear that that's the story of this team. And ultimately, Rex, what it boils down to is that you had expectations, real expectations on year 3. You have not lived up to those expectations, meaning no one expected Auburn to go undefeated, but certainly you expected them to get their fair share of the tough ones. Now, what were the tough ones? Well, you had a top 10 Oklahoma. You now have a top 10 Texas A&M, right? You had a top 10 Georgia. You had a top 16 Missouri. You lost all those games.
All of them.
And definitely the expectation, I think, from the people who signed the checks and from the athletic director is that Auburn would some of them. Now, the Oklahoma game stands out, right? Because
sure does.
It was actually stolen from them. The subsequent games, you just have to be able to bounce back. That's going to happen in college football. Auburn has not done that, so it points to a larger issue that I pointed to in year 1.
You really did?
And a lot of people said, oh, but wait till they get the players aren't good. There was something underneath this whole time and how those previous 2 teams performed that I said, I'm not sure development is happening here offensively, and I'm not sure that scapegoating the players for the results the first 2 years is
fair.
I don't think it's fair.
Right.
And look at where we are here. You have probably the most talented team on paper that Auburn has had in 25 years, and they're 0-4 in SEC play. Rex, no Auburn coach has lost 5 straight games and finished the next season as the head coach. So
wow,
he's in. I mean, this Saturday really will mark the end if they can't beat Arkansas.
That's pretty much everything you need to know right there. No coach has lost 5 straight SEC games, continued to be the next Auburn head coach. He kept mentioning the word close. We're close. And he said that past few weeks. I got to ask you flat out, do you believe him that this team is close?
I think that the result is close on the scoreboard because the results reflect that, right? You've lost 4 games in SEC play by an average of 7.5 points.
That is maddening.
That's the definition of close. However, I'm not sure this offense is close to being what they need to be to compete. And he's got to own that. It's his side of the ball. Jake Crane said this, and it stuck with me ever since he said it. He said, you can be bad at the things you're bad at, but you can't be bad at the things you're supposed to be good at. You're an offensive coach. Your offense is supposed to be good. Your quarterback is supposed to play well, and you're supposed to be good at play calling. And I can say all 3 of those things have been in question at some point this season. So fans are just now starting to see the cracks in what really was there the whole time. I thought maybe the hope was that the talent level was so great, it might provide them a cushion where they land on the other side of these L's more often than not.
Right.
And as it turns out, I don't know what level of talent it's going to take to overcome the problems this team has.
Even despite all those problems, we have the rest of the season to play. Mike, what does Hugh Freeze and this team need to do? For one, Hugh Freeze's job security, and to meet some kind of salvageable season. What do they need to do for
They got to win out. They got to win out. That's it. It's the only thing that will, a 5-game winning streak, similar to something like Baylor did at the end of their season last season. I think they won like 6 straight to end their season. We saw South Carolina go on an epic run to end their season last year. They need something like that because right now John Cohen has run out of excuses for Hugh Freeze. And the only bullet you can put back in the gun is winning them all, which would include an Iron Bowl win. They haven't beat Alabama since 2019. So certainly that would bode well. And then maybe your close argument holds a little bit more water where you say, give me one more year with all this talent that I have amassed, because you can't take that away from Hugh Freeze. He's the one who brought these guys in and got them here. NIL lent an assist.
Right.
But these are his recruiting classes. So he got Cam Coleman here. He got Perry Thompson here. He got these top 50 Deuce Knight, who I doubt stays if Hugh Freeze is not the coach here.
There's a lot of dominoes that
I'm telling you, that could fall if you remove him as head coach. But he's got to, and for whatever it's worth, the people behind him getting hired, they want this, man.
Yeah.
He's got to hold up his end, because I just don't think you, from a business perspective, can look at the repeated results and say this is not a result of your process.
Now, I got to ask about the team that we have currently assembled there. Jackson Arnold has still been the starting quarterback from week 1. He looked a little overwhelmed. He's been sacked multiple times in all of these SEC games. Is it time for a change of quarterback?
It could be, but not because Jackson Arnold is a bad quarterback.
Got it.
Right. I think that he's not. He has problems at times, but he's not the problem with the team. The problem with this team lies within the culture offensively. But Cam Coleman is going to be a first-round draft pick.
No matter where you put him.
Perry Thompson, he's going to be a top 3 round draft pick. Jackson Arnold is a good quarterback. Now, is he the quarterback you needed this season? I don't know if he's the quarterback for this coach, because they haven't shown to me that they've been able to develop a quarterback. As a matter of fact, every quarterback that's come here under Hugh Freeze has regressed, it seems like, in some kind of way. And that's how I would characterize, Jackson Arnold. I mean, and when I say regress, if you are not moving forward, you're moving backwards.
Absolutely.
You know why? Because everybody around you is getting better. It's the SEC, man, and the ones that are not, they're losing their jobs.
Yeah.
We're seeing the dominoes fall across the conference. Arkansas pulled the trigger on Sam Pittman. Florida finally pulled the trigger on Billy Napier. LSU is running out of patience with Brian Kelly.
Really
I'm telling you, mass amounts of talent, and not being able to at least make the back end of a 12-team playoff, where it should be a no-brainer to get 5 SEC teams in if they can get 10 games. Look, he's produced a Heisman, but the LSU, they win championships there.
Yeah.
The expectation is championships.
Right.
So at Auburn, you've done it. The expectation is championships. So a season where, quite frankly, you have to be Arkansas, Kentucky, and Mercer
to get to those 3 wins.
to get to a bowl game.
Wow.
And then to exceed that, you've got to beat 2 current top 10 teams in Alabama and Vanderbilt, one of which on the road. And Diego Pavia, we're calling him the Hugh Freeze Slayer, man. If that's the
honestly, it's fair. And he's actually looking like a guy who should be in the Final Four for the Heisman.
Yeah, I'm telling you, look, it's bad math for Hugh Freeze.
Very much
It's
so.
very bad math for Hugh Freeze. 5 straight wins, I think, is all that gets you there. Now, you've got 3 very winnable games in Arkansas, Kentucky, and Mercer, but make no mistake, Rex, Arkansas is dangerous offensively. And the question for me is not going to be whether the defense will hold Arkansas under their averages. I think they're averaging a league-leading 30-something.
Which is crazy.
38 points a game or something. They're not going to do that on Auburn. G.J.
Right.
Jerkin's going to cook something up. I think they hold them in the 20s. But you have an offense that has struggled in every single loss to score more than 20 points.
It's brutal.
So,
It is so
yeah, I mean, it's hard, right? Like, it is hard.
Watching that Missouri game, you saw Auburn keep the SEC top rusher. This guy was running over everybody to 50 yards or 60 yards. When you do that to the best running back in the SEC, you should win the game.
My good friend Kyle Rush from the Barn put out a graphic that showed every SEC team, every team Auburn has played, what they normally score and what they've scored against Auburn, and it's well under their averages.
Which is incredible.
This defense is not giving up your averages.
They're just on the field too much.
And they faced 4 top 16 teams already and Baylor.
Wow.
So, come on, man. Sawyer Robertson,
Right.
he leads Baylor's quarterback, leads the nation in passing yards right now. Now, while he was dangerous against Auburn, it didn't amount to enough points for them to beat Auburn.
And we thought that was going to be the launching pad for Auburn to have this fantastic season. And here we are.
Here we are.
So, all right. Let's talk about something happier here. Basketball season is here now. Auburn starting off in the top 20. That exhibition game gave us some questions and answers. But what are you expecting? Top 20 Auburn men's basketball under Stephen Pearl. What are your expectations for Stephen Pearl?
Well, the talent is there, right? You went out and you got the Big 12's leading scorer in Keyshawn Hall. You've got Tahaad Pettiford, probably top 3 returning basketball player in all of college basketball. The question just comes down to, can he carry on his father's legacy?
Right.
Bruce Pearl won 0 national championships at Auburn. However,
It's very true.
he raised the floor for Auburn basketball to we expect to make the tournament every single year.
And go far.
I don't care if we lose in the first round. The pain of losing in the first round is not greater than the pain of worrying about whether your team is going to be selected on Selection Sunday.
That's a good
Bruce
point.
Pearl made it almost an automatic for Auburn to be selected on Selection Sunday. And he gave a great gift to Auburn fans. 2 Final Fours in 6 years. That is that's a lot to live up to. And this is a very talented basketball team. The question for Stephen Pearl is, will his process be enough to produce the same types of results, maybe even greater results than what his father did? I think that the people at Auburn believe that there's a chance, which is why they gave him a 5-year contract. And so I think fans should be excited. I wouldn't take too much away from the exhibition game. I wouldn't take too much.
It is an exhibition game, to be fair. And to your credit that you brought up in past episodes, Stephen was on those staffs where they went to the Final Fours. They brought all those.
Yeah, he's seen it.
He's seen it. He knows what it looks like.
And he kept the support, right?
Yeah.
Mike Burgermaster, Ira Bowman, those guys, man, I'm telling you, there were the other cooks in the kitchen behind Bruce Pearl had a lot to do with how far Auburn went. And so for continuity's sake, they hired Stephen and they let him did what they needed to do to retain his staff. And, hopefully that leads to another selection Sunday where Auburn's hearing their name called early.
A familiar name on the roster is Tahaad Pettiford, one of I think the only returning player back from last year's team. What can we expect from Tahaad? Another year of experience in the SEC. In his first year, he absolutely was a baller. What can we expect from him in this season?
Tahaad aims to become a more consistent shooter this year, right? So he was very streaky at times last year. I think that he wants to be more consistent, shoot a higher percentage, and overall just be a leader. Now, he had some off-season trouble, and it was interesting in talking with athletic director John Cohen at an ambush event, this year. He spoke of the mistake that Tahaad made. This is a good kid. All of us were 19 at one point.
Very much
he
so.
owned it against the advice of his lawyer,
Wow.
right? And said, look, a lot of people get out of DUIs on technicalities. He said, no, I did this. I want to own it and I want to move on. And Auburn said, this is the right attitude to have. He is an A-plus kid, man, I think. And if he can be the leader Auburn needs right now, because he's going to have to be in a lot of ways. He's going to have to be in terms of attitude and leadership, and he's going to have to be in terms of producing on the court. But he's got support. And that's where Keyshawn Hall comes in, man. 18 points per game. If he averages that in the SEC, I think Auburn's going to be all right. So again, they put a cast around him that I think has a chance to be successful. Can they play together?
Right.
It's
a brand new squad. So
yeah. But there's experience. There's a lot of experience there. I think year after year, what we're seeing is the most experienced teams are the ones going the furthest.
Right.
So while you may be young and talented, it's experience, I think, that wins in the tournament, too, because you have to weather quite a bit. So Auburn making a run to the Final Four before running into, a Florida team that, quite frankly, had a player that could not be stopped. I think that you hope that you have that guy on your team this year. You have the guy that can't be stopped that everybody fears.
You led right into my next question. Of course, we see Pettiford, and we're expecting big things from him. Keyshawn Hall, is that a name we should be on the lookout for? He wasn't here last year, but he's a guy who could make a real impact in the SEC.
Absolutely. Look, with Bruce Pearl retiring, all these guys had an opportunity to bolt rest.
Sure.
And so what you have is you have a guy, as I mentioned, the Big 12's leading scorer. He was tied technically with another person for first in the Big 12. But he's talented, and he's streaky, and he can shoot the three, and he can defend at times. And like I said, I just think that fans will see that this is a talented team. So you need your two primary scorers, which I think will be Tahaad and Keyshawn. And then you need a good supporting staff of guys who can make shots, timely shots, maybe not in volume, but at the right time, and defend, because that's what Bruce Pearl teams did, is they defended at a high level. And so you cannot lose that intensity under Stephen Pearl. I don't think they lose it. I think that this is why you make this move. This is because he is going to, I read a lot of, not like self-help stuff, but like, self-improvement kind of things.
Right.
And they talk about, one of the guys I read, he talks about modeling as a method for success. Right? And what is modeling? It's, well, if you have already gone through the trials and tribulations to find success, I don't need to make all the mistakes you did. I can model your behavior, I can do what you did, and I can produce the same results. And so enough of the factors around Stephen are the same for him to model what his dad did and realistically produce the same results. So I don't know if anybody's closer to Bruce Pearl and able to do that than Stephen Pearl.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I think it works. I think it works for Auburn, and for what it's worth, I'm rooting for Stephen.
Absolutely. It should be a really exciting chapter of Auburn men's basketball. Again, really exciting to see all the talent there and see how it unfolds. The exhibition game is just an exhibition. That's all it is. Let's get ready for the real thing. Mike, as always, thank you so much for joining us on This Week, my friend. Where can people find all your work at the War Rapport?
Do us a favor, go to the warreport.com where you'll find our written work, also our merchandise store. Also follow us on YouTube, subscribe, become a patron at the War Rapport. We are the War Rapport on every social media platform and TW Report on TikTok.
We're really proud of what this platform has become. And as my time at News 3 ends, Mike, I just want to say thank you again, my friend. Appreciate you all the good work. Guys, we'll do it. War Rapport Wednesday. We'll roll on. I think Jack Patterson may be in this seat next, so don't worry. Mike G will stick around here for a little bit.